Hi, welcome to the process video for Ingrid and Betty, my crochet dolls. I wanted to just give a disclaimer. I did this for my other video too, just in case you haven't seen it, that this is not a tutorial. It's not a pattern. Unfortunately, I'm not going to make a pattern. I'm sorry. But I did want to show the process of how I make my dolls. So if you are somebody that's interested in freehand crocheting, I'll give some of my techniques, some of my I don't know, different methods that I use so that if you are interested in that, you may be able to attempt it on your own. And so I'm just going to show all the different pieces, the crocheting, picking the outfit, making the eyes, all that stuff. So if you want to see how they're made, just keep watching. So one of my favorite parts is conceptualizing, and as you can see, I have tons of these folders on Pinterest, but I basically create what I want in my head, and then I go and I make a folder that kind of embodies everything I'm looking for. So I'll show you Ingrid and Betty's folder. It's been more of like twins, a lot of black and white, two heads, or just like two people. As you can see, there's like lots of the black and white and gray and all that stuff. But basically, this is how I came up with the concept that I had in my head, but like to make it like, I don't know, just more rounded and have like a real identity and stuff. So as you can see, when you click on one, it will open other ones that are very similar. So it makes the whole process of conceptualizing super easy to do. So I always recommend doing this for anybody who wants to make any kind of art. So this is the concept art that I'm drawing for Ingrid and Betty. And I already started outlining it with the pen, and I forgot that I need to film this part, which is I draw this in pencil, and this concept is a combination of many of the things that I pinned on the Pinterest board. So now we're at the drawing stage, and this is, sorry, this is a terrible video so far. This is the drawing that I did. So now I'm going to go over it with the pen before I move on to coloring. So I've just finished outlining, and I picked my colors, which it's pretty simple for this one. I'm just doing black, white, and gray. I might do a tinge of like pink blush, maybe, we'll see. But I'm going to go ahead and color this in as best I can, and then we'll come back when I'm done. Also, I'm so sorry it's so dark in here because it's literally like 11 o'clock at night, so that's why it's kind of dark, but I will update when it is nice and bright outside. It is the next day, you can tell because it is so much brighter out, but this is where we're at. I colored it last night, and I'm really liking how it's turning out. I think it's really cute. So this one will be fairly easy picking out the yarn because it's only 3 colors, but I still need to go look at my stash because I'm not sure I have a gray color like this. So we'll see. But I'm pretty positive I have white, and I'm pretty positive I have black. The gray is the only thing I'm like, I'm not sure. So we'll go look in the stash, see what I got. So I've started crocheting the foot. I want to make this doll a little bit bigger than the last doll I did, Amaretto. Amaretto was a pixie, like a fairy, so she was a little bit smaller, but I want this doll to be a bit bigger. So in order to start this foot, I did it much bigger. So for reference, for Amaretto's foot, I started with a chain 6, and this I started with a chain 14, so she's going to be much, much bigger. So yeah, this is her little foot, and now I'm going to be working on her leg. All right, so I've started here, and then I've explained this in my other videos, but just doing it just in case somebody hasn't seen the other ones. When I get up to here, in order to create kind of this like calf right here, I will start decreasing around here, and then I'll decrease dramatically here before increasing in the front, and then dramatically decreasing up here when I want to make the knee. So kind of, you end up getting this kind of shape. And when I have more stuffing and I get up to the thigh, you'll be able to tell more, but for now, this is where we're at. And then I have been using white because her stockings are white, but I am going to switch to gray when I get about halfway or like a little bit more up the thigh, because these are going to actually be like thigh-high socks. So I'm pretty close to changing colors, but in order to make the thigh, I do start increasing after this to basically make a larger thigh as you go up. So that's where I'm at. So I just switched, so it is now gray. So this is going to be like the stocking, and then the rest of the body will be in this gray color. So I just switched to the gray. Now I'm going to go until this is about the same as this upper part. And then I'm going to do this second leg, and then I'm going to join them. But I have to finish this one first, so. So here's an update. I have finished the first leg, and this is the stocking right here, and then I then switched to this gray, which is the skin color, and then I started at a second leg, and then once I reach the same height, this is where I will join them. But I think I explained in my other clip that how I make the calf. So you can see now that these are filled and complete, you can see that it does have that calf effect, and then it's the thigh and the knee in front when you increase. Sorry. So that is where I'm at. I will update when I join them together, and we'll go from there. Alright, so I've gotten to the part where both legs are done, and I've tried to set it up so that this one and this one meet at the perfect spot, and then I'm going to do like maybe a chain one and then attach it right here. And I try to find like a good pose with the legs to make sure wherever I attach it, it's going to put the legs in a good pose that I like, if that makes sense. So once I attach them, I will come back and show you what it looks like. So I've just joined these two legs together. So what I always do after this is, and I've explained this in my other video that I posted about amaretto, about how I do the bum, but I start about halfway on the thigh and I do a chain all the way to this crack here. And once I do the chain, then I start going around and around and around in a spiral to make the bun, if that makes sense. So that's the technique I use to make the butt. So I finally finished the butt, and right now it looks a little weird and flat, but it's because I need to go in and slip a stitch and start going around here so that I can start making the torso. And once I have that, I can stuff this a bit more and fill it out. So that's what I'm going to do next. And I'm going to probably just like slip here and then go all the way around to get back in the round again. So that's the update. All right, I've done the butt fully, and now I'm on the torso. So I'm going to start the booby part. And if you've seen my other videos, you know that, or my other video that I made, you know that when I make the butt, I do a chain, and then I go into the chain and do a spiral. It is the same thing for the boobs. I do a chain, and then I spiral, and then I slip a stitch into the other one, and I do the same thing. So that's what I'm going to do next. Alright, so I just finished the boobs. So now I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the butt, and then I'm just going to slip a stitch here, and then just go around to start like the shoulder part. So I will fill this as I go. For some reason, I don't know what happened, but like the shoulder part got deleted. But anyways, back to what I was doing. I connected back in the round, and then I split off for the arms. And what I usually do is when I start connecting in the round for after I do the boobs, I will chain right here to make the shoulder portion. And then I'll keep going in the round and decrease when I get to the neck. The main difference though is since this doll has two heads, I've had to make a chain here and go in the round to make the neck and then branch out to make the head. So what I'm going to do next is now start going in the round on this side and then make the neck and then increase to make another head. So that's where I'm at. And then after I finish the head on this side, I'm going to go in and pick up stitches here to then go around and around and around and make the arms. So that's where I'm at. They are looking pretty cute. Yeah, so that's where we're at. I'm excited to see how this turns out. So I started the other head and I'm like halfway done with it. And it's turning out so cute. I'm very, very obsessed. So once I'm done with the heads, I can then move on to the arms, and that is the last thing I need to do before I can start making the clothes. So I'm pretty excited about that. And our body's looking great. I'm actually really happy with the way I built this body. So we're getting so close though. So close. So I just finished one arm, and what I do is I go and I don't know, it depends on the doll, but here I wanted to make the arm start up here. So I picked up stitches all along this area, and then I went back and forth and then would like chain one and then turn it around, turn my work and go back and forth until I made like a decent shoulders thing. You can actually kind of see here, like there's a few rows right here where I go back and forth. And then whenever I do that, I pick up a stitch on this side. So I decrease, but then when I decrease, I pick one of the stitches up over here. So I'd go back and forth, and then when I came back here, I'd decrease with these stitches right here, and then go back, decrease with these stitches right here until I had like just a good underarm right here, and then I would start going in the round, if that makes sense. So you can kind of see here like how I did that. So, and then when I get to the hand, I do all knit across 2 stitches, like one on this side, one on the other, to make the thumb, and then I'll like I think I like single crochet 2 or 3 times, and then I turn my work, and then when I go back this way, I go in the round a few more times. Well, I'll go in the round once, come back, add another stitch to the thumb, and then go back in and go back in the round until I get here, and then I crochet all of these stitches together. Sorry, that's probably not the best explanation, but it's kind of hard to explain. And that's why I haven't made a tutorial. But anyways, I'm done with one arm. I have one more to go. Here's an example on the other side, how I pick up these stitches. I go in and pick up as many stitches by single crocheting, and then I have this. But then I go back and forth, but every time I reach an end, I decrease one of these stitches. I decrease one on this side until I only have like a few underneath here, and then I'll start working in the round just so I can build up the shoulder. And yeah, that's how it is on this side. So I finally finished the body, okay? And then I did my favorite part, which I forgot to film, but I did make a TikTok about it if you want to go see that. And I just used one of these heat guns that people use for like these shrinky dinks and stuff. And I go over it to get rid of like any of that fudge that's left from like handling the yarn a lot. It just crispifies them, you know? That's what I like to call it, crispifying. So here they are. So next I'll begin working on the hair. That's usually what I do next. And these two are going to have short hair, so it should not take long at all. I'm really excited to just get going and finish this doll because she's perfect. They are perfect in every way. I have got to the hair, and I've explained this before, but basically I pick up stitches on the head, and then I do a single crochet back and forth until I have like a little bit of the hair, and then I go into each stitch and I chain a certain amount, and then I go back into the chain and then go all the way around this to basically put hair on every single stitch. I won't do every single one. I'll usually do like a chain in one, and then I'll do a single crochet in the next stitch, and then I do a chain in one and a single crochet in the next stitch, just to like space it out, because it can get really intense and a lot of hair if you do every single stitch. But that's the progress on Betty. But Ingrid, I'm going to do black hair, and I'll do the same exact thing. It's going to be pretty much the same exact hair, just in a different color. So I finished the hair, and usually when I finish the hair, it's curly. So I did take a straightener and I straightened each individual strand of hair. Yes, it is a little time consuming, but the hair is like super curly if you don't straighten it. And I did post some videos on my TikTok of the process of curling the hair. So maybe I can like insert a picture or a screenshot of what it looked like. It was pretty intense. But now that the hair is done, I get to work on the outfit. I was going to crochet an outfit with like this crochet thread, but I wasn't feeling it. So I think I'm just going to use the regular yarn to make their little like leotard thing. And then we'll go from there. So I'm going to start by making like the cup parts, and the best way I can describe it is that I make it how I would make like regular crochet clothes for myself. So if I was going to use like little cups to make a tank top, I would do it the same way. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll update when I have a bit more to show. Right, I'm about to go to sleep, but I thought I'd update. It looks a little crazy because I still have some tails that I need to cut off and everything, but I crocheted 2 cups, that I joined them together, and I joined them on the doll because it's just easier to crochet the clothes right onto the doll, unless you want to put like buttons or like some type of tie to, I don't know, tie it on. But I do this, and then I do decreases. I go back and forth until I get to maybe like this spot right here. And then once I get to here, I will then just go in the front. Like I'll do a row, turn my work, go back the other way until I can get down here. And then I do decreases, obviously, to get into this point, but then when it gets down here, I leave it about 2 to 3 stitches this way, and then I pull it through the legs, and then I keep crocheting until I get up here. I will increase as I go up, and then I will eventually attach it to the portion that's up here. I hope that made sense. But yeah, I'm just so used to doing it, but yeah, it's a little complicated when I try to explain it. But I just wanted to update because she's got her little bustier on now. But we're getting somewhere with the clothes. We're getting somewhere. So that's the update. So I just finished the leotard. So what I'm going to do next is look through my ribbons because I want to glue the hair down where it's supposed to be. But they're in my concept art. They both had a headband. So I'm going to look through. This is the bundle of black and white I have. So I'm going to look through this and find maybe some ribbon that I like for the headband so that I can start gluing down the hair. And then I'll keep it in place with pins so that it can dry overnight, and then I can pull the pins out. But that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to see if I can find something that I like for the headbands. So I glued down the hair and I put pins to keep them in place. I started taking out the pins on Betty. Ingrid still has some pins in her hair, and I'll take them out. But basically, I just glue them and then use the pins to place the hairs where I would like them to stay. And then I let them dry overnight, and then I take the pins out. So I just started taking the pins out. I did this last night, so all the glue should be dried. So I'm going to keep on taking the pins out until all of them are gone. I'm going to keep the ones that are on the leotard because I haven't glued that yet, but everything else I'm going to take out. So one of the most fun parts is decorating the doll, and I kind of got started already, but I wanted to show kind of the process. I look through all of the different ribbons and little like detailed things that I could use. I use E6000 glue for everything, and then I start decorating, and I use my reference image too. So I've been using the reference image to kind of get my inspiration, and this is what I have so far. I'm gonna add more, but I'm letting some of this stuff dry first, and then I'll go in and add even more. But this is kind of an idea of, you know, the process. I look through things, I figure out what looks good, what doesn't, what aspects I want to keep of the concept, what things I want to change a little bit. So this is what I've come up with so far. And I still have a little bit of work to do as far as like adding the details, but also I need to glue down some parts of the hair as well still, and there's still more to do. And I also need to do the eyes and the lips and all that stuff too, but I wanted to just show where I was so you guys could see what I added. So that's what I have so far. Alright, so here I'm showing you after I've added all the little trimmings and stuff, how it looks. It's turning out so cute. I'm so obsessed. I added the little headbands and some more of the little lace things. I took off most of the pins, and now I'm going to work on the eyes. So I sculpt the eyes with clay, and then I file them down with like a nail file, and then I paint them. So this is going to be the whole process of that. So first, I'm taking my nail file. I know it's crazy, but I'm taking my nail file and sanding it down so that the top part of the eyes and the lips are smooth. So when I go to paint on them, there's no like lumps or bumps or anything like that. It really just helps create such a really even surface. And it also helps me make the eyes more similar. Like sometimes I sculpt them, but there's like slight differences and I need to just smooth it, or like the thickness needs to be fixed or whatever. So that's why I have to go in, and you can see me, I'm putting them together to see if they're the same size, if I need to file down on one side more, if one is bigger, if one is smaller. So it is kind of a long, tedious process, but it really makes a difference. All right, so I just finished the first set of eyes. I still have to put the eyelashes on them, but I made a mold of the eyes to make a second one, and then I made a mold of the lips in case I want to use the same lip shape again. So basically what I'm going to do, I tried a different type of clay or a Sculpey that was a little bit more dense. So I'm going to try this out. I'm going to paint this to match these, and then I'll put the eyelashes on, and then I can glue them on. So I've talked about this before. I usually will use nail polish to paint these eyes. So I start out with this base coat just so that the paint sticks to it. And then I'll go in with the actual like nail polish colors. I just have black and white. I know it's kind of a weird thing to use, but I feel like since you can cure it and it just leaves a glossy finish on it, I don't know why, I just really like it. Alright, I just painted all the eyes and put on all the lashes. That's why there's like lash hairs everywhere, because I had to cut these small like cluster lashes to glue them on. And I'm not gonna lie, this was a tedious process having to put the lashes on each of these eyes. Normally I only have to do 2, but I had to do 4. So now I'm going to test a few different ways that I want to put the face on my doll. Alright, so I'm gluing the eyes and the lips on, and usually when I do this I will move them a little bit and try to find a position that I really like. You have to do it when the paint is still, or not the paint, the glue is still wet, so that you can change it back if you want to change it back. But once the glue is dried, it's dried, so you can't really make any changes once that happens. But I found a face I like on both of them, so now I'm going to add the eyebrows. So Ingrid and Betty are done, and I wanted to just show what they look like. I'm going to do a more close-up video, but I wanted y'all to see them in all their glory because they're looking very cute. Okay, so I'm going to do a closer-up video. I'll show you in 1 second. Alright, so here they are. I wanted to show some of the close-ups of their face, the eyelashes, their little chokers, the outfits, and the cute little shoes. But I think I think one of my favorite parts about this doll is how their hair turned out. I don't know, it's just got a good body, it's got good volume. I don't know, I just love it. And the little behind too. She just ended up, they go by either. Got a big booty somehow. When I was making them, I was not trying to make them have like this level of ass, but here we are. So anyways, I'm really happy with how they turned out. I think that the vision really came together as I was continuing, and the vibes just, I don't know, everything just worked out how it was supposed to. I will be selling Ingrid and Betty when I finish my website, and I will let everybody know on TikTok when they're available for purchase. But I'm just so happy I didn't have very many issues with the vision I had, because I was just kind of guessing how to do the two heads, and it ended up just working really, really well. So that's Ingrid and Betty. Welcome to the family.